Back. Let's see how long this lasts. Made a couple of changes there, but I'm not sure entirely if that is going to solve the problem. I'm going to continue to monitor the quality of the stream just for a little bit. This is just happening too frequently now to allow it to persist on any longer. Let's hope that the few little changes I made there a couple of minutes ago will adjust the problems. So far, so good. Zero dropped frames. Let's see how it goes. I didn't like when I was talking about civil disobedience there a little earlier on, so maybe it was the talk of civil disobedience was triggering the gremlins. So, yeah, gremlins. Hopefully they effect off right now. All is going good there at the second. Long may that last. Yes, welcome back anyway, everybody. What's happening, Merd? Martin. Merd. Martin over there on X. What's happening? Mad Dog, Friendly Grower, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Just quickly popping back in there now, looking at people's comments. Barry Fields, Daily Talker, welcome back, guys. All is good so far, long may that continue, yeah? Connection says excellent here. Green lights everywhere. That's what we like to see. Green everywhere. So let's blaze on up as we were about to do there earlier, guys, before we lost connection with you beautiful people. Torches of freedom at the ready. Let's do this. Welcome back, Miles Chronic. Who else is back out there? Breezy. Bobby, what's happening, Bobby? Keep on joining in there, guys. Let's fill up that hot box. Trying to clear off some of the smoke in front of this camera before I disappear. Yes, all still going good. Fingers crossed at last. Boom. Excellent. Looks all good on my side anyway, guys. Mad Dog says GB the roving reporter is going to love the professionalism. Oh yes. Total professionals there, aren't we? Feel just it's terrible when it crashes out like that. Last week was the worst. That really peed me off. Just gave up then afterwards because not too sure what was happening. Went in, turned off the bloody router and turned it back on, and that normally fixes things, but unfortunately not that occasion. Keep those comments coming in anyway, guys. Parker, take two. Yes, please God that it lasts. Yeah, quality is still good. Frames dropped, none. Yes, that's the job. That's what I want to see. So shall we get started there, guys, before things go against us? Is the first headline I have for you today. It's a bit of a shocker, really. I don't know what's more shocking, like the fact that a mother snuck some cannabis into a prison, which, like, to be fair, it's not very shocking or all that part of it, but she was a mother of, get this, wait for it, 26 kids. A mother of 26 children brought drugs into the Midland prison in Laois. Like, come on, what are you going to do there in this situation? Like, it's, like, who's she bringing the cannabis into in the first place? Is it one of her kids? It's a high likelihood it probably is one of our kids. Like, she has fucking 26 of them. Like, jeez, man, the woman must have been just constantly on her back popping out babies. Like, but, like, in this situation, let's just imagine, right, it's one of her kids inside in the prison. Like, she's sneaking some cannabis in there. Is the kid in there because he got caught selling cannabis? Like, should a kid have been in there in the first place? Let's just imagine the kid is in there for selling fucking cannabis. And he was only selling it because, look, he needed the fund his own consumption of cannabis, because maybe he's got a fucking undiagnosed mental health problem there that many people out there seem to fucking have, and seem to be self-medicating with things like cannabis. So you have a situation like that. And then the mother, of course, she's going to sneak in a bit of cannabis to her son. She after popping out 26 kids, I'm sure she's got a big enough cavity to be able to stash a nice size nodge up inside in there, like. But yeah, it's my mother wouldn't do that for their kid. And then you look at this, right? She got caught bringing the cannabis in there to her kid. What's going to happen now? Like, are we going to lock her up? And like, how many of those 26 kids are under the age of 18? How many are under the age of, say, 12? And rely on that mother to take care of them. And if she was sneaking cannabis into her son in prison, maybe she goes above and beyond for her kids. Some people might frown upon that. Some parents might frown upon that. But in this situation, this mother was only doing what she seen fit. She never seen cannabis actually harm her kid, maybe, in this situation, except when that person got caught with it and ended up in prison, But anyhow, let's quickly jump into this. The woman appeared before the Portlaoise District Court, it says here, an old age pensioner and a mother to 26 children. And it was no surprise when I was reading this that this, and I mean no offence by this to anybody out there in the travelling community, but this was Kathleen Riley, and I would imagine she is a member of the travelling community. That's quite, how many settled people, like, I only know one buddy out there, and he had 13 brothers, and they weren't from the travelling community. Anybody else I know out there who's got more than 10 kids in their family, they're from the travelling community, and like the name fits the bill here anyway with Kathleen Riley. Gives her name and address, her age, 72 years of age. She's from Thurles, Tipperary, and she admitted to bringing cannabis into the Midlands prison on January 12, 2024. That's funny enough, actually. I was only chatting to one of the lads yesterday who was up in Midlands prison. And he was down in Cork with me, and his son asked him to bring some hillbillies home to him, and he's from down Kerry direction. They don't have hillbillies down in Kerry, apparently. So the son was bringing it down. I was laughing. I was like, he's going to eat that cold. He was like, yeah, but he goes, that stuff's fucking highly valued down around there. But he goes, even more highly valued up in Portlaoise prison. He got offered 5 grams. 5 grams if he was able to bring hillbillies back to prison. Above in Portlaoise. Because he had to come up to Cork for a court case, and when he was up in Cork, if you're up in Cork and you're there for the day, you get hillbillies for lunch. And guys, if you haven't had hillbillies yet, if you're not living in Cork, you're missing out. Get your ass down here and try some hillbillies fried chicken. Savage stuff. Get yourself a breast and a bun, and get yourself a snack box, and you won't be disappointed, in fairness. Although the chips were fucking hit and miss there and over the last while, I have to say, but chicken is on point all the time. But anyhow, are we still streaming? We are. Excellent. No drop stream frames yet. Solicitor Josephine Fitzpatrick said her client's son, well, look, there you go, man. I hadn't even read into that part of it. And look, the client's son was serving a lengthy sentence. She described what had occurred as a typical situation where an elderly and vulnerable woman was prevailed upon outside of prison to bring in drugs. She said the drugs weren't for the lady's son. So the drugs were actually, she was bringing the drugs into her son, but they actually weren't for her son. Her son was kind of being put under pressure to receive them from his mother to pass them on to somebody else within the prison, which potentially, very likely could be happening. Again, you're stuck inside in prison. There is definitely going to be these nefarious types in there who would prey upon elderly people like that outside of prison, and maybe her son is fucking a soft touch. Who knows? And could be one of these vulnerable people inside in the prison. But Miss Fitzpatrick said her client was a parent of no less than 26 children, no less than, so it could be more than. That's fucking hilarious part there now. A parent of no less than 26. Like, man, we're like, come on, she's either a parent of 26 children or like, it's more than that. Like, come on, no less than 26. That makes me wonder. And she suffers with diabetes and arthritis, and she described the woman as being quite vulnerable. She did not want. She did what was asked of her, and was apparently intimidated. And was apprehended immediately, said Miss Patrick. Judge Andrew Cody said it was a relatively modest amount of cannabis, but noted illegal drugs were the scourge of prisons. Come on, again. Like, come on, that's the scourge of prisons. Like, unfortunately, people like Mr. Riley are being targeted. Judge Cody said he fined a woman €100. Do you know the scourge of fucking prison? Prohibition. Prohibition is the scourge of prison because people are actually in there because of prohibition and they shouldn't be in there. And because of that then, like, is the son in there because he was selling cannabis? Who knows? Who knows? Potentially could be. Who bloody knows? But that's the real scourge of prison. And what's another one? Like, is you can get rolling tobacco. You can buy tobacco. Well, you can't in UK prisons actually anymore, can you? But in Irish prisons, you can still buy tobacco here in prisons. Like, surely if like cannabis was legal and somebody was in prison, like not for cannabis, but for something else, like a violent, say, a crime, surely giving that person a bit of cannabis was going to be a beneficial thing, especially for the prison officers. Like, your man's going to be a bit more chill, laid back, kind of taking it easy, you know? Come on, like, the stereotypical stoner vibe there, apply that, like, to a prisoner. Surely as a prison officer, like, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Not this misinformed image of a cannabis consumer. You know, some of those prohibitionists, they try to lead you to believe that a person who consumes some cannabis gets urges to go stab people afterwards. You know, those kind of lunatics. No, that's not a typical cannabis consumer at all. That definitely doesn't happen at all. Like, come on, there's nothing in cannabis after you consume it that's going to make you want to stab somebody. If that's the case, it's most likely not cannabis that you're consuming. And I'd be very, very worried. Yeah, I see I'm not the only one anyway shocked by this that headline. Yeah, that's the end of that article there. But 26, no less than 26, guys. Okay, no less than 26. What the hell? Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I'm glad we got to start on a bit of a funny one. But it doesn't, like, you see the funny side to that story. At the same time, though, there's a serious side of it. You know, if that woman was preyed upon, if she was intimidated into doing that's a serious matter that should be taken account of in conversations. But unfortunately, we can't even have a conversation about this until 9 months' time, when the government want to revisit the decriminalisation of just 7 grams of cannabis. Yeah, Martin says here, no one should be in prison for drugs. Utterly ridiculous. They shouldn't be, you know. They definitely shouldn't be. Friendly Grower says, clean out the crash. Or clean out the cache, sorry. Yeah, I done that as well, don't worry. Yeah, we cleared out that internet cache there a while ago, and yeah, fingers crossed there that it continues to go good. Looking at this stream quality, good. No frames dropped. Yes. Long may that continue. Yeah, Mad Dogs, 26 kids. What the fuck? Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like, but you know, fair play to her, man. I would love to have a nice big family, but 26 is like, come on, like that. You could have 2 soccer teams there with subs. Fucking tennis aside, like. Breezy D says probably didn't have a TV with all the kids, lad. TV was probably broke. Yes. Lee saying here, Hillbillies is amazing. It is. It's savage. It's savage munch. Tell me, Lee, do you get the curry and the garlic dip? Do you dip the chips into the garlic and the curry together? I'll admit, like, I'm guilty of that one. I've definitely got a few strange looks off people, but guys, don't knock it till you try it. Garlic mayo and curry with a Hillbillies chip. Ha. The Roving Reporter says her prison pocket must be the size of a duffel bag. That's what I'm saying, man. You know what I mean? Like, there was no shortage of space inside in there after popping out 26 kids. Like, you know, I'd imagine, like, she probably lost some inside in there. You know, that the cops give a good rummage around inside, make sure they got her all out. Yeah, right. But we go from that lady, a woman sneaking some cannabis into a prison for her son, and we go to a woman sneaking some cannabis into the country for some profits. That's the next headline here for you. And this is a US woman who was jailed for smuggling €460,000 worth of cannabis into Ireland. So this is over there on BraytonNews.ie, and a 30-year-old American woman who brought over €460,000 worth of cannabis into Dublin Airport just before Christmas told Gardaí she wasn't fully aware of what was in her suitcase. Gives the lady's name here and says she's from Los Angeles and she's been in custody since December 22nd. When a customs sniffer dog detected over 22 kilos of drugs in her luggage on arrival from the US. She had been due to travel onward to London Gatwick Airport, where she told her counsel she understood she would be working as a masseuse in a corporate setting for several days. St. Clair told the Gardaí, that's the woman involved here, that she had been asked by a former schoolmate to carry 2 large suitcases containing clothing to London, for which she was due to be paid €5,000. So again, she could be just plain naive here, and she could have been very well aware of what was in it, or she could have potentially been really naive to think somebody was going to pay her $5,000 to bring some clothes to London. Really, she might have been blonde though. Like, and again, no offense to any blondes out there, I just kind of had to get a little dig in there. But like, yeah, asked by Gardaí if she had been aware that there might be something illegal in the suitcases, St. Clair replied, "I was aware it could be." Yeah, like $5,000, come on, alarm bells, much, Excuse me. Michael Bowman, defending, described St. Clair as naive and vulnerable. She having a blonde moment. And said her deep-seated Christian faith. That's what it was, guys. She wasn't blonde, she was Christian. This is like, I won't say nothing there because... her deep-seated Christian faith compelled her to take the best views of others and believed that nobody would take advantage of her. At a hearing at Dublin Circuit Criminal Court on Thursday, Judge Martin Nolan, like this guy, Judge Martin Nolan, guys, like this guy, Judge Martin Nolan, only just, was it yesterday or the day before, a young fella, about 18, arrived into Ireland from another country. I don't know what country he arrived into Ireland from, but he arrived into Ireland to meet a 13-year-old that he had met online, and he had child abuse images of this 13-year-old, and again he knew that this girl apparently was 13. And guess what? Judge Martin Nolan gave the guy a suspended sentence, like. And here he is jailing this woman for being naive enough to think that she was transporting clothes for $5,000, and he jailed her. Like, let's just say she did believe that, but even if she didn't, and she was fully aware that she was bringing cannabis into the UK and she was going to get paid $5,000 for it, she shouldn't be fucking sent to prison, to be fair. Like, come on, hit her with the fucking the import duty tax like you should be doing, and just cop on, like, end this prohibition. It's silly and it's stupid. This woman's going to be jailed at a cost now to the Irish taxpayer of to a tune of over €80,000 per year. That's the average cost of the Irish taxpayer per prisoner per year, over $80,000. Silly. But anyhow, at a hearing in Dublin Circuit Criminal, I read that she was enduring some financial distress. An opportunity was placed before her, and she succumbed to temptation. He added, obviously, she didn't want to believe, but it would be nonsensical to think she didn't believe there was some illicit substances in her bag. St. Clair came forward on signed pleas from the district court and admitted possessing the cannabis worth $460,000 on the date in question, and she has no previous convictions in Ireland or abroad. Garda James Connor told Joe Burns, prosecuting, that a customs sniffer dog intercepted 2 large suitcases and that St. Clair cooperated fully with the Garda investigation. When asked by Judge Nolan if it was unusual to find such a large amount of cannabis coming through the airport, Garda Connors replied that it was a recent trend over the past few months. And of course it is, guys. Come on, look at it. She's coming from the US, where that suitcase worth of cannabis could be easily bought for probably as little as $5,000. What was there, 22 kilos? Yeah, like, come on. Open, Bobby, anybody out there in the hot box? What are you buying a kilo for these days over in the US? £2.2. So £2.2. So let's just say £50. £50 of cannabis. Like, if you're going to be getting that bulk deal, what are you going to be paying per pound? Like, come on, it's definitely not €460,000. I would imagine it would be probably somewhere in the region of $5,000 to $10,000. 10,000 maximum, I would imagine, for about £50, I would say. Would I be right, or would I be wrong? I'm hearing the wholesale price of cannabis over there in the US, especially if you're getting it from down there in the likes of California, where there's an abundance of it, that you can get it for as cheap as chips. But anyhow, So where were we? There we go. The court heard that St. Clair told Gardaí it was scary travelling on her own, but she believed that she was looking forward to doing some shopping in London. What about the masseuse? She said she did not know what was in the suitcase and that the only reason she had brought them was because a woman with whom she went to school had asked her. The court heard that this acquaintance booked her flights and sent a driver to collect her for the airport in Los Angeles. On the day of her flight, St. Clair dropped her 5-year-old daughter to school, relaxed at home, picked up her daughter later and did her homework with her, and then was collected by her driver, whom she did not know. The luggage was already in the car, the court heard, and Garda Connors agreed with the prosecution that they were not dealing with a criminal mastermind. The Garda also agreed with Miss Bowman, or Mr. Bowman, defending that St. Clair came from a deeply religious, decent, hard-working family, none of whom had ever been in trouble before. St. Clair's mother, who travelled to Ireland to support her daughter, took to the stand and told the court that her family were part of a church of the Harvest Gathering. The Harvest Gathering? Harvesting cannabis, maybe? Hey. Miss St. Clair said her daughter's car had been stolen and she found herself in a difficult financial situation as a single mother of a young child. Come on, like she thought people would take advantage of her, but yet her car was robbed. If your car was robbed, surely you'd be aware that there's people out there who are going to like take advantage of situations. The court heard that members of the family's church community are praying that God will guide St. Clair through this difficult situation and are praying for her. Multiple letters were handed in from family and friends testifying to St. Clair's good character and strong Christian faith, including one from her church pastor asking the court for mercy. St. Clair herself wrote a letter to the court apologising and setting out her personal circumstances and the church background. I was taken advantage of, my vulnerability was taken for granted, St. Clair said, and explaining that she had never been away from her daughter before and finds it particularly challenging to share a prison cell with 3 others. Judge Noling accepted that serving time in an Irish prison with no connections in this country is very lonely for a foreign national. He said St. Clair had a very good work history, a very impressive range of testimonials, and was unlikely to reoffend. It seems this once-off incident, Judge Nolan said, setting a headline sentence of 6 or 7 years. He said St. Clair's culpability was one of recklessness rather than actual knowledge, and sentenced her to 3.5 years in prison, backdated to when she went into custody on December 22nd. He's like, that really breaks my heart thinking like that. This woman has a 5-year-old daughter at home. You know, like looking back at the other case, 26 children, like this woman's just one child here is breaking my heart. Like, she's 5 years of age. Like, her mother clearly plays a big important role in her life. She was taken advantage of in a vulnerable situation by people offering her something that would have been very beneficial to her if it had manifested as it should have had. Like, ultimately, if the cannabis got to where it was, as long as there was no violence, like as long as nobody's stabbing somebody because of trying to protect the cannabis, then nobody was ever going to get hurt. There was going to be a mutually beneficial exchange happen where money was handed over, cannabis was handed back to the other side. Hopefully nobody was getting robbed and all of that. Like, you know, you don't know what's happening under the black market, but cannabis isn't at fault there. It's prohibition. You know, nobody was going to get hurt by the cannabis unless somebody sprayed it with something. But again, prohibition. Like, so many things here happening because of prohibition. This woman was preyed upon because of prohibition. You know, if cannabis wasn't prohibited here in Ireland and the UK, then it wouldn't be so valuable to make it worthwhile to pay naive people like this woman, Miss St. Clair, and to take advantage of them. You know, it just breaks my heart, that 5-year-old girl over there without a mother now for the next 3.5 years. 3.5 years without a mother. Guys, come on. Like, you think about the damage that all of that cannabis was going to do, and no way would it come anywhere near the damage that's not having your mother there for 3.5 years is going to do. Agree, disagree? Let me know in the hot box. What do you think, guys? For me, I that absolutely breaks my heart. I'm doing well here now to keep myself composed, because that's the most damaging part of prohibition for me. It's breaking up families, taking a father or a mother, a good one, away from a child. No, like that. There's no drug out there that can do that kind of damage to a family, you know. Addiction can certainly, but a drug in its own, no. Uh, but anyhow, look, we'll leave it there because I will end up getting a bit. Yeah, Casa de Struga says New York State are discarding 125 tons of cannabis due to a lack of legal retail stores. So in theory, it's worthless. Yeah, man. You know, in Casa, how many of those tons of cannabis are actually going to be destroyed, and how many of them are going to find their way to the grey market, to say unscrupulous individuals who will take advantage of people like Miss Claire and say, hey, come here, Miss Claire, take these suitcases, bring them to the UK, and we'll give you money. And Miss Claire is a bit desperate and naive and says, look, all right, fair enough, and is convinced that, look, you're going to be okay. And she thinks she's going to be, sure, it's only cannabis. It's only cannabis. About 3.5 years of your life now for just cannabis. Man, it's not worth it. Even if, like, come on, even if it was cocaine or heroin, I just don't think 3.5 years in prison is justified. I don't think any time in prison is justified. I think all of those drugs should be legal, and therefore there wouldn't be any value to sneaking them in. You know, the value is only there because of the illegal nature of them, the prohibition of them. You look at alcohol. Come on, how many people are actually smuggling alcohol really into the country? I know people might do it for personal reasons. I hear people doing things like going to France with the van, filling her up with bottles of wine and coming back and using the wine for a reception, a wedding reception. They're trying to cut costs. But how many people are actually bringing that wine back and selling it here illegally? None. I don't know of anybody here in Ireland currently that it's selling like vodka from over the border, even though, like, yeah, there's a fair difference there between vodka across the border there in Northern Ireland and vodka here in the Republic of Ireland, you know? Oh, no, don't do this. I'm seeing some stream frames dropped here. No. All was going so good. Please don't do this. Yeah. Please, continues to go good. It stopped. uh, but guys, you know, if we didn't have prohibition there, the value of these things, it just wouldn't be worthwhile importing and to sell it. As I said, people aren't doing it. Cigarettes, okay, I'm open to correction. Cigarettes currently, but look at America up there on cigarettes because of tax. There's like a 77% increase on the price of cigarettes in this country because of taxes. I know people who are like getting flights to the likes of Manchester for next to nothing and bringing back a load of tobacco with them. I know people who are just getting on the ferry to go over and buying a load of tobacco, bringing it back with them, and they're covering the cost of their trip and making a few extra pound there as well. And plus getting some cheap fags for themselves. But it is definitely happening. It's common enough. Oh, I see a few more frames dropping. No. Stick with me. Stick with me. How are we looking here? Oh, no. Yeah. I do apologise, guys, for this fucking dropping of frames. It's still happening. Yeah. Darn it, oh man. And it's still saying stream quality is good, like, but I can see that frames are dropping here now. It's after missing 1,700 frames. That's no good. No bueno. Yeah. Drop acid, not frames, says the roving reporter. Alright, cuz, I see out there as well what's happening, Ian Cav. I see out there in the Hotbox Kid what's happening. Ah, man, hopefully these frames just stop fucking dropping. Please. We blaze up another one with you guys. We'll offer up a bowl there. The audio is clear, says grab your parachutes. Yes. Or says Casa and grab your parachute, says it's grand. Happy days. Maybe I'm just panicking on my side because I'm seeing the numbers going up over here, so I'm not too sure what it looks like on your side. But if you're saying it's good, I'll smoke to that. Roving reporter, man, you're spot on there. I'd say that's exactly what's going on. I tried to go on there a while ago and set my desktop as the priority within the router, but there didn't seem to be an option there, so that like mine will get priority, like fucking bandwidth over the other stuff. But yeah, was that Mad Dog says that it's probably the solar flares. Yeah, that's the job. But as long as it continues and doesn't actually drop. A while ago, the stream actually just completely shut out. Oh. QoS, is that what it's called? Parachutes, nice one. I will have a look at that there now again. Is that what's that, quality of service? uh, and Temple Grower says it looks all good over there. Maybe it is the solar flare and it's not getting Canada. We're getting bait here with solar flares and Daily Talker says lower the quality on the Netflix subscription. It's not, it's the small people inside watching the cars and the trucks on YouTube. Or maybe he's watching me. Elijah, out there in the hotbox, kid. Are you out there, Elijah? Lovely. But we drop back there to the 420 news, and let's hope that you can continue to hear and see this as I get into maybe a bit of a ranty one as we dive through this next headline and next bit of news for the 420 news. Has a little video here of Gino Kenny at the top, but the headline is that it was as easy to get drugs as sweets in jail. Legalizing cannabis is a dangerous road, says an ex-prison chief. And of course he's going to say this, like, you think about it, if they can keep sending people to prison over, like, cannabis and stuff like that, the boys are going to be in for a nice cushy job. A former chief prison officer has told how it was as easy to get drugs as it was to get sweets into the lockups, as he urged against legalising cannabis. Like, come on, what has legalising cannabis got to do about getting cannabis into a prison? Like, you look at this last one, a mother of 26. Come on, like, how did keeping cannabis illegal actually help this mother? It didn't prevent this mother from trying to sneak cannabis into prison, did it? No. So, like, what this guy is talking like is complete tripe. Like, need I even read any more of it? Like, it is. But John Tobin said he witnessed firsthand how drugs led to devastation during his 30 years of service among Joy, Wheatfield, Cloverhill and Castlereagh. And come on, what devastation did it actually lead to within the service? Was it that these people were actually just abusing drugs within there, and abusing drugs of such low quality as well? As I'd imagine, you're in prison, you don't exactly get to be picky about what kind of drugs you're consuming in there and about how they're even getting in there. Like, come on, one buddy I know, like, fucking boofed some stuff getting in there. Like, I just couldn't. I don't know, like, that there's, as much as I like cannabis and all of that, like, I don't think I would ever be able to stick it up my bum and take it back out and smoke it afterwards. Like, no matter how much cling film, condoms, or God only knows what else you want to put around it, like, I just wouldn't be comfortable with it. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, come on, am I alone on this, guys? Like, how many people out there? I should do a poll. Would you smoke some cannabis if you knew it's come out of somebody's bum? I know it gets wrapped up, it's in cling film and it's in a condom, but, like, come on, like, I just couldn't. I really couldn't. Uh, uh, either way, fuck that dude. Sorry, just reading through some of the comments there. Yeah, well, that's true. He could have been in on it, actually. There he is, like John Tobin. Look at him. He's definitely after been sneaking a few sweets into the prison himself, but look some. He said he believes that cannabis is a gateway drug and will lead to more misery for families across the country if proposals to legalise personal use of cannabis are approved. But come on, he believes that cannabis is a gateway drug, but he believes it. Like, but does he believe in Santa Claus? Does he believe in the Tooth Fairy too? Does that mean that these things are real because he believes in it? Because I know scientifically there is nothing in cannabis that is make a person want to use another drug. There is nothing. As I say, if anything, if you want to talk about a gateway drug, the only one that I've actually experienced is alcohol, where it lowers that what would you say, like your fucking barrier, your inhibitions, is that the word I was looking for there? Where it makes you more likely to say yes to things that you wouldn't normally say yes to in a sober state of mind. Cannabis, to be fair, thinking about cannabis, like it makes you more likely to say no to things that you might have said yes to in a sober state of mind. It might make you more risk adverse. Is that the correct way of term of saying? More risk aware, more aware of potential risks of what you might be doing. And I know for me as a young fella anyway, it allowed for better decision making. I thought things through. As I said, I was quite impulsive before, and it's just like, Martin, you want to go do this? Oh yeah, fucking Martin's coming along and having a crack, and get a bit of cannabis into the situation. Martin, you want to come do this? Nah, I'm gonna chill here. No, I'm gonna get a munch with the lads, and I'm just gonna chill here. Boom. Chill on. It's just like stayed out of trouble. Big shift. Big shift. Uh, Life is a gateway drug, for fuck's sake, says grab your parachutes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're spot on there. Still same stream quality good, but the frames are dropping. Sorry. Anyhow, John, who lives in Trim, County Meath, we won't hold that against him. And he ended his career in 2011. So he's retired now, like 14 years, 13 years. And as a chief prison officer, the Clover Hill said, during my years as a prison officer, I saw people brought in because they were supplying drugs and those who committed crime just to find money to feed their addiction. Drugs, mostly cannabis, heroin, and then cocaine in the 80s, 90s, and the noughties were as easy to get in prison as it was to get treats such as chocolate and sweets. Oh, excuse me. The drugs would be thrown over the walls or smuggled into the prison and people's orifices. Thrown over the walls. My grandmother actually lived right next door to Cork Prison. My grandmother's house was 72 Errickle Heights, and the Cork Prison effectively was 73 Errickle Heights. And we were often outside kicking the ball off the wall, me and my cousins, and a fellow we would know, a few people that we would know over the time, would come up and they would loft light bulbs up over the prison wall. And what was happening was the light bulb, I think like it had a stone or something inside in it, so that when it landed on the net, because there was a net up over the prison yard, the heavy implement inside it, the stone or maybe some ball bearings, would cause the light bulb to actually break. And a packet with drugs would fall down onto the yard along with some shards of glass. A dodgy way to be getting fucking drugs into a prison yard, to be fair, but look, it beats fucking bum hash anyway. Any day. Oh, excuse me. Grab your parachute. He says, I'd fucking smoke it. Oh, I just couldn't, like, I couldn't. I just rather not know where it came from if I was going to smoke it, you know? Ah. Ooh. Mad Dog says, no thanks, mate. I'm glad I'm not the only one anyway, Mad Dog. On we drive on. Are you still with me out there anyway, guys? Yeah, we're still streaming away, fingers crossed. I see the frames dropping here like a motherfucker, but let's hope that stops. Let's hope. He goes on to say then in this article, sorry, I'll pop back actually into it there for you. Boom. That drugs were freely available, or sorry, in the noughties they used drones to drop the drugs into the grounds. In the noughties, so the 2000s. And when the nets were placed over the grounds of Mountjoy to deter this activity, eggs and tomatoes were thrown in on top of the nets so the birds would pick at them and the drugs would fall through the net and into the grounds. Man, that seemed very risky. What if the bird ate your drugs? Come on, in fairness, like eggs now, in fair, like all right, yeah, eggs would have been better than those light bulbs. But how do you get it into the egg? And an egg isn't going to be as fragile as the light bulb. But that was definitely the one that I seen him do, because one of them actually missed through it one day, and a light bulb, like rather than going straight, went fucking, he completely threw a socket, and it went down the alleyway. And your man just legged it, then he fucked up and he knew it. And my granddad actually went down the alleyway, and I had to pick up the drugs that were down there, and had to ring the guards to come up and collect them. It was lots. But I'll never forget. And he killed himself afterwards. Like, where was the aftercare? This guy clearly was in need of help. The drugs were just fucking patching over what was a gaping wound. You know, his mental health crisis, and it was the only thing really helping him. Obviously, off and without him, he took his own life. Well done, Mr. Tobin. You really helped that guy. He says, I was walking to a football match in Dublin recently with my young grandson, and he turned to me and asked, Grandad, why do so many people living on the street